Streams.
Welcome to Connected. I'm your host, DJ Iz. I got my lovely co-host, Miss Cloie. Say what's up, Cloie.
Hi guys, happy Monday, all.
Oh, yes.
All.
So I'm excited today because we're again in the house of rolling. And today is Monday Takeover. And we got my man to the left of me, none other than my man, Kevin Ross. Man, say what's up, bro.
What's going on, man? Thank you for having me, guys.
Oh, man,
appreciate
dude.
it.
We were itching to have you, dude. I hit up Zeke. I was like, man, I need to get Kevin. We're going to be out rolling, man. What's he doing? He's got a tour coming up, man.
Yeah.
Let's get him on the show, man. So thank you for coming to hang with us, man.
My honor, truly.
And
truly.
it's actually been a minute since I've seen you, but I've been following a lot of what you have been going on. And I mean, you've been a favorite of mine since the day I heard your Dream record.
Wow, thank you.
And got a chance to sit with Zeke and you know, see some visuals on you and everything we're doing, especially from a musician standpoint,
Yeah.
which got me instantly. Because, you know, I mean, I think for me as a creator, I always look for artists like yourselves who are extremely authentic.
Yeah.
And great when it comes to the actual skill level. And I mean, the fact that, you know, you sing the way you do, man. So
I mean, let's talk about your vocals.
talk about it, Chloe.
Like,
Dive
like
in
butter.
here.
It's vocals like butter, like
here we
baby
go.
butter in your throat. It is just, it's a wonderful thing to listen to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I really am humbled by that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, I want to kind of, you know, usually on our show, we usually dive into, you know, our jobs and what we bring to creators and
Yeah.
people who are aspiring to do things in film, radio, and other things. But I want to make this show really about you and your craft and what it is you love and how you got from point A to point B, because a lot of our viewers we've had a lot of viewers who or have a lot of viewers who are musicians, songwriters, producers. And so for them to always, you know, be able to have an opportunity to hear an artist like yourself kind of tell that story and kind of just lay out the framework of what that process is always beneficial to our viewers. So, man, we're just
Just want to hear and learn.
Yeah, just want to hear and learn, man.
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, where should I start? I mean, I'm from Washington, D.C.
Yes, you are.
Yes,
DC?
Yes,
Yes,
DC
you are. For the
native.
record, for our viewers, we're from rival high schools.
Yeah, we are.
Just by the by,
We are.
Ellington and Suitland.
Yes.
Continue. Sorry, I get it.
Shout out to the hometown, man. Whoever's listening and watching right now from home. But I'm from Washington, D.C. My whole dad's side of the family, they sing or play instruments. And so, you know, it was nothing but music around the house. I'm a big, like, 70s fan.
Yeah.
So I'm really into, like, the Joni Mitchells, the Norman Connors, the Patrice Russians, the Earth, Wind and Fire, you know, groups and
meat
artists
and
like
potatoes.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I really fell in love with because of the format that's in D.C. called Quiet Storm, right? So, yeah, Quiet Storm, WHUR.
So let me
They
guess, is
actually
there,
found
is
it.
there a deep voice that goes with that
Quiet
program?
Of
Storm.
course,
Quiet
of course, you know it.
WHUR. Oh, yeah.
So, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
that was really kind of the soundtrack to my childhood.
Okay.
And so, growing up there, I fell in love with Stevie Wonder, and I fell in love with Donny Hathaway and Marvin Gaye, and so that really kind of started me off singing in school, singing, you know, for my arts high school, and then I went to Berklee College of Music up in Boston.
Which is real, y'all. That's a real music school, by the by.
So I went there, and that's actually when I started playing keys. I started playing keys just for, and even now still, it's just for songwriting purposes.
Gotcha.
And so, you know, just asking about like, what is this chord and how do I, you know, hold my fingers and what is this?
yeah.
And so then I really started to go into like practice modules and really start to like hash out and understand what these chords were and the progressions and understanding what that meant and how I can put it inside of my music. I wouldn't understand that until later on. But I have an interesting story as far as with Berklee. I remember my last year of being there. My mom had gave me a call and she was just like, Kev, listen, we ain't got no money, you know, with the credit. You know, we done ran out of all kinds of loans.
Because it's a real school.
Absolutely. But one thing that I always did at Berklee is I always made sure that I was connected. I always made sure that I was active within the musical community, that I was always on shows, my face, I was always present and I was always visible. It wasn't about the gift, it wasn't about the talent, but just making sure that I made connections, made the network, made the effort in order to, you know, build up this rapport and this repertoire. And so I was just like, you know what, Mom, I'm gonna figure it out. So I prayed about it. I asked a couple of people. I said, who's the guy who is responsible for making sure that I can stay in school? You know, because I would meet with all of these people throughout the years that were within the scholarship office, but I would never meet the big honcho. So they gave me a name. His name was Damian Bracken. So Damian Bracken had an intense and busy schedule. So I said, cool, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna find this guy, and, you know, we're gonna, you know, hash this thing out.
Right.
So, man, I probably waited at his office every day, maybe like for 2 hours at a time, waiting for him. Damian Bracken, I'm like, is Damian Bracken available? And so, you know, they said, just wait here, Kev. And so I'm waiting, and so they say he's not available today. So this happened for about a month and a half. And so when I actually got the chance to meet him, you know, I'm introducing myself. I got this big notebook and portfolio of all of this stuff. And so he was just like, I already know who you are. He's like, how much do you need? And so with that being said, that was my first lesson in patience and diligence and making sure that, like, if it's something that you want, you got to go out there and get it. But sometimes God has to make you wait for it, you know. And even within that waiting process, you know, are you willing to wait? Are you going to let it go?
Right.
And so, you know, that was worth it to me. So after I graduated, thank God, I moved down to Atlanta and I started writing. And so I had kind of played with the idea of artistry prior. In college, I did 106 in Park, Wild Out Wednesday. And so that was really, really cool.
Dope.
But it wasn't a serious thing for me.
Right.
So I said, you know what? Let's put that to the side. Let me focus on writing. How good can I be as a writer? And so I really honed my skills. I was like in the studio every day. I mean, to the point where I just felt, I felt exhausted and depleted by year one, just because I wasn't living life. You know, I'm a 21-year-old young man that's out in Atlanta, and I'm not experiencing anything.
Right.
I'm not using my youth and my vitality in order to gain this knowledge and this energy that's within Atlanta, especially during that time.
Right.
All I'm doing is just hashing it out, grinding it out. Now, the cool thing is I did land a placement with Jamie Foxx within my first year. So that was really awesome, but I did need to recalibrate. And I did need to experience what it was like to live in Atlanta. And so I took that time. I was still writing, but I was writing from a different perspective. Because at that point, I felt like, you know what? The sound right now is cool, but I was like, I want something else and I want something more. I was like, but I have to live. I have to go back to the things that I love and fuse it together. Right. And so I started to create, which I didn't know at the time, would be my demo for Motown Records. So once I created the demo, I actually met Zeke at a studio. And so Ezekiel Lewis, for those who don't know, he is an amazing writer. He is a master. He is a master at his pen. And so what I was doing was, as a stupid young person, I was using his room within the studio house. He had the nicest room, like the dopest setup. And I wasn't saving my sessions on a hard drive. So I was just putting them on the desktop of his computer. So of course, as anybody would do, you know, he was looking inside of the sessions and he was hearing the songs that were being created. And so he was just like, who is this guy? Who is he? And so we actually sat down and you know, we built the bar music group with Ezekiel Lewis, Troy Taylor, and you know, we took it to Motown Records. And Ethiopia had just got into her position, and the rest is history. But it's I mean, you know, but
it's not over yet.
Yes,
and you know, man, like listening to that story, which is a very intricate story, you know, is incredibly great for us, man, because so much of our viewers here with Connected, man, they hear it from us every Monday, right? Just the grind, the sacrifice, the work that goes into the craft, finding yourself, also living amongst all of that, and then getting to a point where all of that kind of comes together at the right time, and then you get opportunity. And, you know, for them to see and hear that story is incredible, man, because it's a commitment, man. This is what you do. Like, this ain't sport. You know what I'm saying? This ain't for fun. Although you love it and you enjoy it, you know, everybody's got a path, man. And I think those crucial details of your path is really inspiring. you know, and it's even in, you know, Cloie's world, in the film world, and her day to day, you know, this is Monday for us, right? This is a Monday takeover Monday movement.
Yeah.
But we got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Right.
Friday, Saturday, and
You got to
Sunday.
take over
And
those
then
days.
just
They
stop.
don't go away.
Yeah.
like I don't want to do Wednesday
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah.
I'll skip it. No,
Yeah.
it's real.
And I think too, you know, just because you're a musician's musician, you
Yeah.
know, and for me, even as a creator, as a songwriter, I think one of the things that I gravitated towards instantly was not only your vocal ability, but the fact that you're a songwriter and then you're playing the songs, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's something is very rare these days. You know, it's like, you know, usually you go through that assembly line process where you get an artist, you get in the studio, you say, here's the song, here's the music, and let's try to get a good vocal, you know, versus, you know, you get in a room with an artist like yourself, and it's like, Kevin, you know, it starts with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
And you can
man,
feel that just in speaking to you. We were joking earlier behind the scenes about the word organic. Like, it's just a fun word. But talking to you, the idea of how the music literally comes through you. You can feel, you can see that you're thinking and feeling the music, and all of the words that you say, every experience you have probably translates into your music, and that's what you feel.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's been a journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing I don't want for people that are watching, for those who are inspired to do music or anything within the entertainment realm, to think that it's just like, oh, well, you know, this person started here and then ...
Right.
and now
And
they're
now-
they're success.
Yeah, right.
It's so much time in between that.
So much.
Yeah.
Say
know,
that one more time, just slower.
it's
for
a
the cheap
lot.
seats in the back.
It's a lot
It
of time.
takes a long time to become
And-
an overnight success.
And in this business, there is no cheat sheet. You can't cheat your way to success. You cannot, even if you get one opportunity where you think that you cheated. You know, the goal here is longevity.
Right.
The goal here is to understand the theory of momentum, right? So let's just say even if you do get lucky and have something, at the end of the day, can you follow up?
Yeah, can you do it over
And
and
can you
over
keep
and
it
over
going?
again? And that's it's great you say that, man, because I always talk about, you know, for me and my journey, me and my brother never got lucky. You know, and when you get to the end of that stretch, you realize, man, I don't want to ever be the dude that got lucky. Because what's the value in being lucky? Like, I know
people that
I'm
just
sitting in this
arrive?
chair because I made it here.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Everything I was able to knock down and make happen through hard work and sacrifice, it's like, this wasn't by accident.
No.
You know, this is intentional.
Well, and then we also talk about sometimes, and I know, you know, the idea, we say that the hustle is real, get your grind on. And I think that it's also valid to chronicle and to talk about the hard times and the stuff that happens in between what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
Like, if it takes you years and years and years to become an overnight success, let's talk about everything that happened in between when you started and when you
Right, yeah.
arrived.
That's right.
Because that's the real part
Yeah,
too.
that's
You
right.
No,
say
absolutely.
that you never got lucky, right? We've all had and are having our hard times.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Man, it's real out there, Chloe. Just tell them,
These
man.
streets.
It's real out there.
Real in these streets.
Real out there.
It's real in these streets.
So, man, you know, with all that being said, and fast forwarding to now, you know, one of the things I wanted to make sure we also talked about is your tour coming up.
Yes,
man,
yes,
and
the
all those
Awakening Tour.
exciting things.
Yes, it starts May 24th. I'm super excited about it. You can go and get tickets online. That's at
Yes, you can.
kevinrossmusic.net. We are in 18 cities starting May 24th, so I'm really excited. So make sure that you guys come out and show love.
Yeah, show love, definitely. And just kind of like, just real quick, you know, the experience is it can be intimate kind of setting. You got your band. I mean,
We are going to have a band.
okay,
But we're doing very, very intimate locations.
got you.
It's going to be a very, very dope show.
I
I will
already
say
know,
that.
dude.
It's
I
gonna-
saw you rock at a hotel. I want to say almost over a year ago. It was like rooftop.
Yeah, the
right,
Redberry.
Yeah, right
Yep.
across from
Capitol.
Motown. Yeah,
Yep.
Capitol. Yeah. And that was dope, man. And,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. I think for me, like, I've been spoiled with seeing so many of the greats do their thing live. So when you get a chance to get, you know, to see an artist like Kevin
Yes.
and him on his keyboard just singing his songs, it's like, that's where you get the goosebumps. You know what I'm saying? Like, you,
It's not just the air conditioner.
Yeah.
The air conditioner is
Right.
real.
Because it is pumping right now.
Real, guys. And the other thing that when you talk about your influences, you can feel that. You are, back to what you said about being a musician's musician. listening to your music, it feels like things I've never heard before. Do you know what I'm saying? We talk about sometimes how music today can have this, the originality and individuality, and you feel that in your music in such a way that is refreshing, and it does have a throwback kind of quality, but it's completely your own.
Yeah,
style.
and I think that's one of the things that I gravitate towards the most is that as youthful and as young as you are, you're able to pull from those influences and those inspirations, but it's still very much fresh and unique.
Yes.
And I think that's the fine line with creators right now like me who have come from both sides of the spectrum, meaning listen to all the 70s music, the 80s and the 90s, and then the struggle of being relevant. And it's very few people that can put that concoction together without sounding too much one or the other.
Yeah.
And so when I listen to a Kevin Ross record, it's like I identify with it because it makes me feel something, but it's also still very much fresh.
Right.
You know, and that's a hard thing to pull off. You know, it's you're either, like I say, you're either super like reminiscent of some Stevie or Donnie, where the young folks are like, yeah, it sounds like the stuff my mom bangs in her car. You know, and that's that. You know, because you run into that, man. So, like I said, when I hear a Kevin record, I know it's gonna give me that feeling and make me feel something, but I can still be cool with like rolling down the street, my window is down without like, oh, let me roll my window.
Have this moment and then go back to it's not that at all.
I mean, it's about being intentional, though. I go on with the intent of understanding that truth doesn't change with trend, right?
So wait a minute, where's my pen?
She's gonna make this a connected hashtag.
Say that one more time.
Truth doesn't change with trend.
Okay, as you are.
And so
as you were.
I always stick to that. So my truth will never grow old, and no one's truth will ever grow old. You have to find your truth, though, and you have to stay true to it, because truth is ageless. Truth is timeless. That's how you have people like the Stevies and the Babyfaces that can have a run for decades and decades at a time, where like you said, I mean, we do get challenged with the sound sonically. Where do we fit? Where does it go?
Pop.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But the truth is, man, like when it's truth, it can transcend.
Absolutely.
You know, beyond anything. And so, you know, I have a record out. It's called Long Song Away.
By the way, my girl put me onto the song, and when we heard, like, we played that song, I don't know how many times, like, you know what I'm saying, and it was like, it was cool to see her like find that, because then it was like, I instantly had a connection to it because I was a huge fan of Dream. You know what I'm saying? So it was like when that song, I was like, dang, I think we play that all the time. You know, it's one of our favorites, man. So. Go ahead. Continue.
You're looking that way because Chloe's here right now. She's over there. Don't tell her she's over there.
But I mean, even with the song like that, I think the cool thing is that I wanted it to be a bridge. You know, I wanted to write subject matter that felt very current. You know what I mean? So I took a very like social media perspective of saying like city girls want it all, but they never can wait. You know, it's just that. Listen, everything's going to take time, whether that's in a relationship, whether that's in love, whether that's in your career. Nothing's going to happen.
That's such a great concept, man.
It
like
is.
City girls want it fast, but it's going to take
It's going to take time.
City boys too, though.
I mean, listen,
City
you know,
girls,
I'm only writing from my perspective. I don't know nothing about it.
It's exclusive to his experience. But you know, one of the things we talked about prior to the show with a person who's on the Connected team, which is Leah, and we briefly covered just the word integrity when it pertains to who you are as Kevin Ross. And, you know, it's a lot, man, because, you know, we've had people ask us questions, you know, I want to do this, but I know I need to probably do this because, you know, maybe it'll open other doors. And, you know, that's always that's a tough battle for a creator, you know, just integrity, knowing when to keep everything intact and when to, okay, let me just try it then.
Yeah.
But, you know, when I listen to your music, man, I can always, you know, acknowledge the fact that integrity is a huge piece for you. Yeah. As a creator, as what you love. See, it's different to do something that's reminiscent of what you love and kind of commit to it. But it's a whole nother thing to take those inspirations and keep everything intact.
Yeah.
So that, 10 years from now, Kevin, when you go to look at your discography, you're going to look through your records and you're going to say, man, see that one record right there? I know I did that because,
Absolutely.
Hot 100 needed this kind of, you know what I'm saying? And I even know for me and my brother, when I look at our catalog of music, there's not one record in there that I cringe over. Now that came with weathering the storm.
Yes.
Yeah.
It came with saying, okay, well, everybody was jumping on the EDM pulse. We didn't, but we still did these. It's like, I'm still proud of that. You know what I'm saying? And I think, too, just to hear you talk about the process of longevity. Yeah. I've seen so many writers come in the game that had a hot record. And I always say, man, that's great. But be here 5 years. Man, make it past 2 years.
Yeah.
5 years, 10 years, because that's really where, even as a culture of creators, that's where we kind of start, we got to get back into that driver's seat of making timeless music that transcends, like you said, real truth. I mean, it has a lifespan of years. It never gets old.
Even when you bring up integrity comes with suffering. Right?
Absolutely.
And so you have to.
See, I didn't want to say it, Kevin. I'll let you say it.
Let's talk about it because it's real.
Yeah, integrity involves a lot of suffering. And I think that a lot of people don't understand, but suffering is necessary. You know what I mean?
And it's
a
not
part
bad.
of growth. Yeah, it's not the
comfortable.
word is used in a bad way, but it's necessary for us to grow. It's necessary for us to evolve.
And for balance. You don't know what good is unless you have had the bad.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's real. I feel like I might have brought
This
this
is your
movie
moment.
out.
You didn't.
My Oscar winning moment.
didn't.
That's what I'm talking about. But it's real.
Yeah.
I think that it's the thing that people don't want to necessarily talk about, and it's maybe a very Buddhist thing, or more of a Buddhist practice about accepting the suffering and the pain and moving through it, because the other side is more important than to stick in the suffering. But I do feel like we as people want to ignore or cover up or try to, as opposed to experiencing it and in a way cherishing it for what it is.
I'm with that, Cloie. I'm so with it, honey.
Oh, I just feel like we went to another level.
So, man, with that being said, our show is about providing opportunities for those who are aspiring to do what we do, one day. So we got this thing, man, where we do grind ups, where we actually provide job opportunities in our fields, man. So we're going to kick off our first grind up of the day. But Cloie, before we go in our grind ups, we like to tell them to have what?
Pens, papers, and a good attitude.
You're always sharp on the dial, Cloie.
There's some things I can do, guys. Other things can't.
So here we go. First grind up of the day is in the field of audio tech. This is in Anaheim, California. Event company in Anaheim seeks audio tech for live event production. Run in Allen and Heath QU series board. Set up and tear down speakers on a daily basis. Run XLR cables, snake runs, Clearcom runs, digital snake runs. Sound out a room and EQ a system to prevent feedback. Again, this is in Anaheim, California. It's a very technical job, so I would suggest anybody who's looking to apply for that job, make sure you got your ducks in a row as far as some real-time experience. If you've engineered events, live events, make sure all of that is a part of your presentation and your resume, okay?
Boom. So now before we go into our next roundup, we have this thing that we like to do. We like to celebrate our student success stories.
Oh, nice.
Because, these are people that are in the world doing the thing, making it happen.
Absolutely.
So Recording Connection alums and what have you. And this week we are highlighting Adam Howell, who, if you were watching the last time we were in Roland, he
Look
just
at
moved
sexy Adam.
from
Big
Boston
sexy.
to LA. He's been here for, when we met him, he'd been here for like a week. So now he's been here for maybe 3. And he is redefining the horror genre, because you know how generally in horror films, historically, the black guy dies first.
What about the Mexican? Come on, man.
Well,
the
but
Mexican
see, now
dude doesn't last long either.
No, but you don't die for the black guy. But you don't die for the black guy. And then there's the movie Get Out, which is, right?
Love Get Out.
Amazing.
Love
which
Get Out.
is crazy.
Amazing.
But so yeah, he is redefining the horror genre. And to check out more about Adam and to hear about how he's doing that, you can see more on his student success story that'll be coming out in our newsletter later on today. And that's that graphic, because their team is really good like that. It's like
Sharp
bam.
on the dial.
Just like
so
boom.
there's a link. One thing I loved about Adam and his story coming from Boston is that he came out here with really just an appetite, man, to
Yep.
like press, make things happen.
Yeah.
No time, like no matter what time of day, like he's on it, man.
He's
And
doing
it's
it.
it's great to be able to like, kind of, put him under our connected spotlight, man, because he's out there doing it in real time. So shout out
And
to Adam.
we met him. We got a chance to meet him when he hit the ground. It was
Wow.
probably stunned by the sunshine still. Sunshine's
Wow.
real out here. And
It
you
is.
haven't been
It
here
is.
that long either.
No, just a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows what some Cali sunlight is. He probably knows what some Cali taco trucks are too.
Yeah.
Cali grows them real.
So cool, we're gonna move on to grind up number 2. Chloe, I'm gonna let you knock this one down.
Oh, goody. So this is in the field of audio. This is for an audio engineer in Nashville, Tennessee. A music software company seeks an audio engineer to assist in recording and mixing audio for their software. They are going to be engineering and assisting vocals and instruments for audio sessions, editing, mixing, mastering music and voice recordings, record on-set audio for video and syncing music and sound effects in post-production, and engineer live webcasts and webinars. And again, that is coming to you out of Nashville, Tennessee. Shout out to Nashville. I think that's pretty straightforward. but that-
Absolutely, especially for all our audio engineers, man. And think, Kev, like, how dope would it have been to like get out of school and be able to access jobs in the fields?
Listen,
or
I was just thinking, I was like, yo, where was this at when I came out
You know,
of school?
it's funny you say that because I was just having a conversation with Brian, and it's surprisingly, dude, everybody that gets to experience this platform, that's the first thing they say, man,
Yeah.
I
Where was
wish
it?
this was around when
Yeah.
I was getting. Because honestly, this doesn't require you to have 4 years, of college under your belt. As long
Absolutely.
as you've had some bit of experience,
Yeah.
whether you were like making records or making beats in your room or
Yeah.
doing some engineering at the church, you can access jobs like these, man.
Man.
That's crazy.
And we just keep them coming, man. So we're going to move on to grind out number 3. Grind out number 3 is in the field of
Roll that graphic.
stagehand. This is actually a great grind out for you, Chloe. So this is stagehand in Dallas, Texas.
Love it.
Live music venue needs experienced stagehand. Assist audio and lighting crew as directed. Responsible for coordinating the food trays for artists in the music hall. Responsible for preparing guest lists and securing required passes and tickets. I think we should definitely apply for this job because
Well-
we could be handling the food trays.
That's all I'm saying.
Right.
We were talking about this earlier. You will always find me because I started shooting this week on the feature film that I'm working on.
Uh-huh.
And whenever they lost me, they found me by craft services.
Mm.
And for those of you that don't know what craft services is, it's simply where the food is.
Nice.
It's just where the food is.
It's where the food is.
And before we move into anything else, we should also announce our Facebook app,
Absolutely.
right? Can we roll that graphic, please, about our Facebook app and how it's connecting artists and closing the gaps between the technical and the artistry side of it?
Absolutely. And this is a graphic that I really want like you guys to really get this logged into your brains because this is an app that we've created that really makes it easy, super easy for our creators, people who are looking to be in film, radio. This is an app that allows you to actually find that within miles of where you're at. And
Geo-based.
Geo-based, you can list your job, what your work goes for, your experience, and really connect with other folks. As one of the things even Kevin Ross mentioned early on in the show was the need to connect and build with people. And this is an app that can really provide that experience for you guys. So make sure you get it. It's in Facebook's Messenger. It's the IZConnected app. And hey, we can't make it any easier. Every Monday we're at 10 jobs now. Okay, we're bringing you 10 jobs along with it in addition of our connected app. So make sure you utilize that. Without any further ado, I don't want to do too much talking, Chloe, but I want to let my man Kevin get up here and do what he so loves to do and what we love to see him do. So without any further ado, I'm going to let my crew get my man Kevin Ross dialed in. So you guys check this out.
you wanna be great? Do you wanna be? Do you wanna be? Do you wanna be great? Ooh, do you wanna be? Wanna be great? It's time to shift the culture, move with focus, rise above and lose the vultures. It's hard to fly when those that's close to you keep pulling you down. Yeah, off my chest, no more excuses. I'm scared to death, but I can't lose grip. I'm scared to jump, I'm scared to fail, I'm scared of you, I'm scared of myself. But what is life if I can't be great? Great, yeah. And if I fall on my knees, then let it be, 'cause I'm praying. And God's saying, well done, oh well done, 'cause I'm gonna be great. Oh, I'm gonna be great. I'm gonna be great. You're gonna be great.
He just took over, man. That's what my man does. My man takes over, man. Thank you so much for that, Kat, man. You made me like want to put my feet up now and just kind of, you made me want to just get chill.
I want to be great
Yeah.
with some wine. I want to be great wine.
I'm gonna have him give us one more treat before the show's out.
Please.
So, man, that felt so good, man. So, it's hard for me to even go into our next grind out,
four?
man. But
I mean, let's just do it. Let's just
do
rip the
it,
Band-Aid
man.
off and go. I'm tired
Here
now.
we go,
That was
grind out
wonderful.
4. This is in the field of boom mic operator, audio mixer, St. Petersburg, Florida. TV production studio field audio engineer to record audio on set, collaborate with producers and performers to determine and achieve the desired sound for a production. Regulate volume levels and sound quality during recording sessions. Use advanced audio mastering equipment to create highest possible quality stereo recordings. Man, you know, if you're viewing that, right, if you were viewing that grind out detail, man, I probably would have screenshot that joint because it was so much like detailed information. I'd have been like, hold on, shh, I don't want to miss a beat.
I wasn't even listening. I'm so caught up in you.
You're still, I know, I am too.
I've lost my way for the rest of the show. I don't need to say anything. I'm just gonna look at you. That's what I'm gonna do.
Go ahead and look at it. I'll keep the show moving.
Okay.
So again, folks, that was grind out 4. Cloie, do we have anything prior to going in? Man, I think Chloe's going home with you, man.
What happened?
I think she's going home.
I have something to do?
I think I think Chloe's expecting lunch.
Oh, where's Crafty? Yeah.
So we're now moving.
Sorry, I want to be great.
We're now moving into grind out 5.
Before we do, guys, get your Q&A ready.
Absolutely.
Get your
questions
Q&A ready. You got questions for Kevin? I know we do.
Yeah.
You know, so get them ready because we're gonna move. We're gonna move.
Moving fast.
Got
Nothing
lots
is off limits. Nothing is off limits.
Those are big
No,
words.
I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay, Chloe, be careful now.
I'm
all
just
right?
saying,
Nothing
he's
is off
opened the
limits.
box of Pandora. I
Yeah.
didn't do it. So without any further ado, we move into grind off number 5.
Let's do it. I'm gonna let you tackle that one down.
Love it. Hit it. Grind off number 5 comes to you as a production technician out of Memphis, Tennessee. A production company is seeking a production technician / operator for newscasts and in-studio programming. Jobs details are to operate studio handheld and jib camera, operate the studio robotic cameras, control the teleprompter, operate the audio during newscasts and production. And again, that's coming to you out of Memphis, Tennessee. And if it's anything I can tell you about teleprompter, it's do not mess it up. Do not, that in that that job description,
Yeah.
know what you're doing, because you could really hurt somebody. It's like driving while under the influence. If you're operating a teleprompter and don't know how to.
So what are some of the things that could go wrong with that process?
Well, you figure that as an actor, or when you're hosting, if you are going off of a teleprompter, right? If there are words coming across the screen, literally, you could put anything in there. I'm going to say it. And it'll probably get started before you can laugh. It's okay. It's real. You could put anything in that teleprompter, and the words are going to escape the lips before you can really grasp what's happening. So that could go wrong.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this now.
Yeah.
Have you seen this happen in that type of scenario where, you get something on the teleprompter, but it's like it's written in today's cultural language?
Meaning like there's slang in it?
Yeah, slang. I don't want to say slang, but yeah.
I mean, I have not personally seen
Like,
it.
are they doing that yet? Like, is that happening, or does that happen?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm sure, especially if somebody does not think well off of the cuff or can't remember a line and it needs to relate or something and throw in some colloquialisms. I'm sure that it happens. Like if you were to throw in, I don't know, give me something.
Like, today's high is 75, and
today's high.
it seems like today's going to be lit, guys. So
Exactly.
Right,
Exactly.
right. That's a good one, man.
Exactly. Today is going to be lit to the gods. Right?
Yes.
She read him for filth.
Like, word to God, yo, have a great day. That's insane. That's insane.
High of 75. Word is bond is butter, baby. What? Just
Peace out. We out. Oh yeah. So that's another thing. Like, we out versus we are out.
They would probably put. It could go either way.
Right.
But but also
Maybe it
depends
all
on who's
depends.
reading it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And who else? Who's typing it?
Who's typing it?
Yeah.
Who's reading it? And if the person typing it likes the person reading it.
Yeah.
That's why it pays to be nice.
So that is our 5 grind ops of the day. But keep in mind, we do have an additional 5 that you can find on our website, connected, rrfedu.com. Chloe, go ahead and read these off.
Boom, 6 to 10 jobs on a website. In film, we have a production coordinator in New York, New York. In radio, we have a commercial editor in LA, shout out LA. For radio, we have an assistant program director in San Diego, and another radio, a producer and announcer in Austin, Texas. Did I just put a T on Texas? Texas. And then we have in the field of culinary, we have a sous chef, and that is in Waikiki Beach, Hawaii.
Now that
Shout out
sounds
Hawaii.
fun. So guys, keep in mind that when you do apply for these jobs, we do have an in-house team that will actually look at your resumes, and if they see anything that can improve it, make it better, they will do those type of build outs with you guys. So make sure you take advantage of what we offer here, and yeah, do apply, because this what we do here is also about getting you guys hired. It's not just the bells and whistles or the creativity aspect or our opinions, thoughts. It's about getting you guys dialed into what it is you love and get you going the best way we can. Now we usually do School of Hard Knocks, but we're going to bypass that because I feel like today is a great day for our viewers to really dive in and extract as much information as they possibly can with Kevin about, you got questions about how he got from point A to point B, how much hours did it require of practice, all those things. So make sure that you got those in, because we're getting ready to move to our Q&A right now, which we do by means of our phone, because we're high tech here, bro.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So,
We are not rude.
Yeah,
also, for the people
I'm
watching,
not texting or looking at emails like.
we are not like it is all business on the phone right now. Oh, so we have a question from Katz. Shout out Katz. He's one of our connected faithfuls.
Okay, nice.
Like when we say faithfuls, like they've been here since day one. We
one.
started a year ago, man. That dude has been here for before the show even got going. Like
Before there was time.
Cats,
yeah,
man.
cats.
Yeah. Okay, so he wants to know, and he's from Highland Park,
Nice.
California.
Nice.
Is there an artist out today that you listen to, and who is it?
Anderson Paak.
Pack, yep.
Anderson Paak. I listen to him. I listen to Gold Link. He's from DC as well. Of course, BJ the Chicago Kid. It just depends on my mood, But it's a lot of up and coming artists, established artists that I listen to today. So
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm gonna ask you a real question about that. Is there an artist out there that you see and you say, man, okay, that's my competitor?
No, I can never look at it like that.
Okay.
I can never look at it like that. I mean, it's all good as far as healthy competition when you're like on tour, or when you're doing something like that, and it's like, okay, I like what he did, but I think I can take the crowd here.
Yeah.
You know. But as far as like holistically, as an artist, nah.
Okay.
Nah. You know, I celebrate artists more so than try to be in competition with them. You know, if one is great in this lane or in this avenue or in this aspect of their artistry, then I'll give them hella props for it. Yeah.
Man, that's dope, man. So I'm gonna put you into the hella nice category.
Nice
Because I'm gonna tell you, because now I've been in rooms where, you know, I've had these conversations, and I remember Prince saying when Rick James was out, he was like, man, I tried to have my foot on his neck.
Ooh.
Collaboration? Hell
Never.
no. You know, so, but you know, it's like, you know, but you know, times change. It's a different thing now where, and I do feel you on that as far as like, you know, even in a performance where you're on the road with somebody, and it's like, okay, cool, okay, let me start, okay, they got that going, okay, they're rocking right, oh, that's where, and those kind of things where, because you always, I mean, you always want to, you know, improve, and you only really improve by being around others that are better.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So
and
that's
living
always a great,
life too.
and living life,
which is valid to what you were saying earlier about how you weren't living.
Yeah.
It's hard to create when you're not when you're not filling yourself up with experiences in life.
Right,
it's hard to put that out.
Absolutely.
So next question, we have Pete from Indio, California. Has writing songs for others helped you write your own stuff?
Yes, it has. It's given me great perspective. Understanding that you have to respect where an artist is at in their career and where they want their album to go. See, especially for writers, when you're, you know, starting to come into the game, like you're just really making shots in the dark, because it's like, yo, you know, there's openings for Usher's album and yada yada yada. So if I'm a new writer, all I'm doing is taking shots. I don't know Usher. I don't know what he's going through right now. No, for real.
That's so true. That's so true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I don't know where he's at in his life. So I mean, with that being said, it's like
I don't know what he grocery shops.
no, I'm just saying, like, so you really don't know. Like you can actually have a legitimate great song or a good song. It's just the fact that he's just not at that place.
Yeah.
So when you listen to the album, you're like, dang, I was way off. Like, you know, but as writers, you're like, man, he should have took this song.
It's a
man.
placement.
It was a smash, right?
Yeah. No, but that's so valid, man, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I've been in those situations where, you know, doing records with him, and then, you know, you like you said, you go through that phase where as a writer, it's you're driven by the placement, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh yeah, man, I got songs, and then these artists actually sing them songs, and you'd be like, man, that don't connect with anything or anywhere he's at in his life, and you know, it happens, you know. So it's cool, man. I'm glad your perspective is what it is, man, because that's so true.
We have Richie from Pasadena, California. He says, I hear you about technique. I started music late but have some talent. What's the best way to grow fast? I'm a singer-songwriter and I'm learning piano now. He's 23, FYI.
There is no fast route. I'm sorry to say. There is no fast route.
No overnight
It's just,
anything.
it's trial and error. 23, you're at a great place. That is, listen, time has no factor as far as in this music game or in entertainment within itself. They would like for you to believe that, but the
Because if
contrary.
23 is late, then the rest of us are just not coming.
What are we doing?
Jeez.
So with that being said, I'd say, man, listen, just hone in on your craft. Make sure that you take time out to live, but make sure that you take out time, you know, hours of time every day to work on your craft, you know, to work on whether you play keys, whether you play guitar, whether you're trying to, you know, whatever you're trying to do as far as in your profession, man, like really just hone in and focus.
Dope. Dorsey from Myrtle Beach, what's your favorite instrument and why?
I only play two.
So which one of the two? Piano.
Piano, but I mean, I'm definitely growing to love guitar even more just because of the fact of how open it is.
Right.
I'm not great at it, but I'm starting to learn the chords, the progression, the structure of it. I haven't started soloing on it yet, but I think the process of discovery, you know, because somebody would say, man, well, you know, you already play keys, you don't need to play guitar.
Yeah,
man.
and that's what I was getting ready to say is that, you know, a lot of people say that piano is pretty much like the unlocked, how you unlock all the other instruments. So I'm sure in no time you'll be soloing.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Kevin Ross on guitar.
Right? You're gonna do just fine.
Mike from Rochester, Michigan. Cool beat and Don't Forget About Me.
Oh,
Is there
nice.
any story behind that?
Wow. Well, Don't Forget About Me is all based on not being forgotten. Not just about, the love of your life forgetting you. It's just the fact of like what you do here on this earth. Will it really matter at the end of the day? And so that was a question that I was going back and forth about. It's like, is all this that I'm doing in vain?
Right.
Is all this hard work that I'm putting into the music industry, what is it for at the end of the day? But I always had to remember of why and how I fell in love with music. So back when I was at Ellington, I used to hear all of this music and sing all of these songs that was like 200 or 300 years old. And I wasn't necessarily fascinated with the song, but I was fascinated with the composers. I was fascinated with the fact that these songs that they created lived longer than them. And so I chased after that feeling. And so I always want for my music to have the quality that's able to live longer than me, the longevity aspect of
Legacy.
it. So, so Don't Forget About Me is clearly that statement to say, even though I'm not here in the physical, don't forget about me as far as musically.
Let me ask you, and this is a personal question for me. As far as like your ability, to play piano and infuse that as a part of your songwriting, does the majority of your songs start with you sitting on your piano and kind of just diving through melodies or whatever is inspiring, or sometimes maybe not on the piano, just melody? Because I know you're a melody dude too, so just you could be walking around, it's like,
Yep.
So what's your more or less your creative process?
Melody's king for me. You know what I mean?
Always,
It starts with melody for me, and then I go and I hash it out on keys, or sometimes I hash it out on the guitar.
Gotcha.
So it just depends, and then I'll make sure that it feels right, and then I'll go into Logic and I'll, make kind of a skeleton of a beat. It's fast enough to, make sure that the idea is there.
Can get down,
Because once my brain starts churning and I have a melody and I have a concept, then I'm literally going through the whole song and just saying, okay, cool. I have the beat. Now it's time to go into Pro Tools. Let me record this, to do a rough demo. Then I'll go back and I'll fine tune the beat. I'll fine tune whatever I need to. And if I can't do it, if I feel like I've taken this track as far as it can go, I'll always send it to one of my homies.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
We've got Chantel from Phoenix, Arizona. Says, congrats on the new album.
Thank you.
In Rolling Stone, you talked about songs having to be bigger than the trend or current time. Please tell me why.
I think just for the sake of culture and where we're at right now, everything is so instantaneous. Everything is now. But the thing is that when you start thinking of now, just imagine how much time it takes to produce a quality album, right? So you were blessed enough to be on Confessions, right? But that was a process. It took time. Nobody didn't know that Confessions was being made when it was being created. We only knew it when it was actually out, right? So now with social media being at the helm, and there's nothing wrong with it, people have a higher expectation and they want it faster, right? So it's hard for you to kind of create these great quality songs at a faster rate because you don't have time to live with it as a creative. If I make a song and my fan base is like, we want it now, and I've only lived with it for a day, that's not fair to me, and that's not fair to them to actually really get an honest opinion and say, this song sucks, or this song shouldn't see the light of day. And that's honest, because I mean, you could be feeling something for a week, and then you play it for somebody and they like, not this, and you'll say why, and they'll give you all the reasons, then you'll actually think about it and say, dang, they were right. So it saves the hassle. So you're really trying to get the best product out of yourself within a certain amount of time. So for me, it's all about sticking to your truth, always being honest with yourself to say, okay, am I resonating with this? This isn't about top 40. This isn't about Hot 100. This is about my truth. I always promise myself, I said, listen, if I'm going to be an artist, I'm going to be an artist my way. I didn't know what that entailed. When you're doing it your way, you have people, well, not people, but just forces that will try to hinder you and try to block your blessing. You know, but what you have to learn as an artist and as a human being is that no one can block your blessing. You know, what's for you is for you.
Right,
It's
absolutely.
within your purpose. If you allow for someone to do that, then that's on you. But I'm only living my truth, and my truth is to spread the truth that nothing is impossible. That who would have known that a little kid from Washington, D.C. would be sitting here with legends like yourselves and to have this platform to say anything.
Right.
No doubt, man. You gave me a dose.
Right?
No, but
Where's my fan?
that's so true, you know. And when you anything you reference, great. I mean, there was time put into it. And when you come from a songwriting aspect, you know, that's moments in time in your life that inspires those words and those topics and whatever that song is addressing. And it just, you know, you'd be cheating yourself or doing yourself a disservice if you had an idea and because it was a good idea and you flush it out and you were like, here you go, folks. It's like, that's not, you know, like our craft is our everything and our songs are most importantly our hearts.
Absolutely.
You know, so by the time you do present it, you want to make sure that you've exhausted all your creativity and you can now part with this baby of yours and say, here you go, my fans, or rolled it and hand it off in a way where, you know, as an artist, you can stand on that and this is my creation and I want you to have it.
And it's a relationship that you're building between you and your audience. You know, you're building a trust factor. You know what I mean? Especially as an artist, when people don't know you and they're discovering you, they don't know anything about you and they don't care.
They don't.
So when they actually take the time to listen to a record, they're gambling.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's true, they're gambling.
50-50 chance that they may not like it.
Yeah.
But if they do, now you're beginning this journey with them. They say, okay, cool, I like that song. So now when they hear the next song, it's like, I like that song too.
Yeah.
You know, but you have to build a trust where there's only a certain amount of artists within the industry right now where when they say someone's album is coming out and you just press buy.
Yeah.
The whole thing without saying, let me preview
Yeah,
this.
let me check out
let
this
me
song.
stream this really quick.
Yeah.
But when D'Angelo's album came out in the Vanguard, guess what?
Click.
Press buy. Because he won my trust throughout the years,
yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Or Drake or anybody like that where it's just like, I don't have to listen to a song.
Right.
I just know
That it's
the
gonna be
fact
okay.
that the relationship that you've built between you and your audience, including myself, I trust
It's
you.
instant. Yep.
Hearts and minds, y'all. Hearts and minds.
We have Darren from Chicago. How do you like being in the studio? What vibe do you want when you record? Aspiring producer here would like to know straight from the source.
Chi-Town, Chi-Town. I love Chi-Town. That's actually the first date we're going to do for the tour. My bad, small plug.
No, absolutely. Talk about, hey, we got to talk about your
Big
tour.
plug.
Yeah, that's
Small plug, big plug. We can alternate.
But no, I don't really need much for the studio. I don't need candles and red lights and dimness and that. I don't need that. I mean, I record from home.
You heard that, folks? No vices. No vices. Let's go straight to it.
Yeah, so that's all I really.
I'm so sorry. That's my truth. That's my truth. I snort.
It's okay. No, I don't need much. Honestly, I just need my Pro Tools setup. I need my mic. I need a keyboard.
Yep.
And that's it, man. A lot of the songs, I try to work with a lot of producers when they send tracks, and then I'll write to them. But it just seems like I have more success when it
It's not
derives
who you are,
from.
bro. It's not part of your makeup.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're from the school of gotta feel it, gotta have something to do with it. This you're no assembly line artist. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things I loved early on about you was like see you bare bones, you know, dude on a guitar and you singing your song like
Very, very bad.
I identify with that.
Yes.
'Cause
Yeah.
that's real artistry.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
But as
absolutely.
far as for producers that are interested in linking with me, I would say this. Please do not elaborate on your tracks. Please send very, very raw and basic ideas because I work better with those so that we can actually build together.
Ooh, sharing.
Dope.
We got Isabel from Canada. Oh, bonjour. Your voice is awesome. How do you maintain it? Maintain is the word.
Yikes. Now, it's different when I'm actually just off the road versus on the road. On the road, I'm a little bit more meticulous about my voice. So I take care of it by using slippery elm droplets, echinacea golden seal just for overall health, Multivitamins are very important. Licorice root is very important. Ginger is very important. I drink honey like I'm Winnie the Pooh. It coats my throat. Making sure that your body is hydrated is very important when you're a singer. Making sure that you're getting ample amount of rest. Making sure that you do not fall weak to any vices that you have. Smoking is not good, no matter what condition it is. Some people do edibles. Hey, whatever your thing is, that's harmless, you know. But I'm saying smoking is a no-no. You know, drinking can possibly dry you out if you have too much of it. So, you know, you just have to be very conscious of how you use your voice.
That's a for real list right there, bro. Like, I would say if you're a person who sings, I hope you like put your list together, because that's a for real list of how to maintain your voice. So,
What are your vices? List those.
Jason from Los Angeles, was being a solo artist always a plan? How many years did it take you to get to where you're at now?
Yikes, was being a solo artist always the plan? I think it was more so God's plan than it was mine. A short story, I'm gonna try to keep it short. When I was writing and I was down in Atlanta, I was invited to do a Rihanna writing camp out in LA. So everybody stayed at the SLS, right? And so I'm new. I don't know what's going on. I'm seeing all these cool writers and all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, dope. So by like the third day, I realized, and I was like sitting there in my bed, and I was like, I don't think I want to do this writing thing like for the rest of my life.
Right.
I said, I don't know where I'm gonna go from here, but I know that writing for other people for the rest of my life, it's not my bag. It's not my thing. So literally the same day as I put that out into the universe, that's how funny God is. So I'm working with DJ Tone. And so we are, I forget what studio we're at, but he's running late. So there's a piano there. So I'm just playing, I'm singing little songs, whatever, and I don't realize that he came in. So he's listening. So he's like, yo, like, you an artist? I was like, I play and, you know, sing a little bit or whatever. So we get to the session, we write a song. The song is decent enough for an A&R to come in and say, yo, like, we want LA to hear this, LA Reid at the time. So LA comes in, so DJ Tom stops him, and he's like, yo, before you listen to this song, I want you to hear this kid speaking about me. So we go into the piano room, and I sing a couple of songs, and LA's sitting next to me and all this stuff, and that was really kind of the spark. God gave me that motivation to say, you said it. Right. I'm gonna present an opportunity to you.
Yeah.
You know, and that was really kind of the beginning. I always had the thought in the back of my mind as I was creating music, but I didn't think that, you know, it would be like this.
Right.
I had to grow up, I had to suffer, and I had to understand that this is a platform, and I'm held accountable for my platform. The things that I say, what I do, how I talk, how I act, that all means something at the end of the day. So for me, yeah.
You got Demarius from Baltimore, Maryland. Shout out Baltimore.
Be more, yeah.
Right? Where do you get your inspiration? What do you do when the well runs dry? And this is a question that comes up a lot, actually, here. Yeah.
Inspiration, living, God, making sure that I stay humble and just always taking in information. I learned this from Babyface. I worked with Babyface for 2 weeks. And so one thing that I always noticed about him is that he's never in the forefront of anything. Like, it was his studio. He was like off in like the shadows in the back somewhere. He's just always like
Phantom.
He's around, but he's not really. And I think that was one of his gifts, is observation and taking in all of this knowledge and information about each and every artist or particular producers. And I was like, I need to learn how to do that. Because being an artist, you always want to be, I'm here, this is me, yes, you know, in the building. But I was like, with Face, I was like, he's able to take in as much information as he wants without being seen, without the thing of it being, oh, Babyface is here, let me.
Right.
So I think that's a great thing. And as far as with the well running dry, take the time out to recalibrate. There's nothing wrong with that. Even though people will say, man, you just need to keep working, work through it.
Right.
It's hard to work through it when you feel like you're depleted.
Yes.
You know, you have to take that time to say, all right, cool. Let me go ahead and read a couple books. Let me watch some movies. Let me go and live life and really just, whether you meditate, whether you're praying, to refocus and figure out why you fell in love with this, how you fell in love with this. Listen to the music that made you fall in love with it, to listen to it from a different perspective, not just from the perspective that you listened to it before, but just say, okay, cool, let me really do some research on this. Let me read a biography on this, or is there any kind of research on this particular artist or this particular decade that I can get into, things that you may not have wanted to dive deep into, so that you can get restored within your inspiration.
Yeah, and that's really dope, man, because you do have to, like, you have to refill the tank, even as a creator, you know, and you do run into those moments where not every day is a music day, you know. Now, every day can be a music day in the sense of listening to the music, but as far as creating concepts and ideas, you have to live. And when you live, you're able to meet people maybe that you know are strangers, but you have a conversation, or you're out living and you see something, or you go watch a movie, or like you said, some of the things you do, it's like that's how you refill the tank, you know, because you do run out. You know, you run out, and you got to refill it.
You
so
can't give forever.
Yeah.
You just like thinking about it like a car, right? And if you can't drive the car past empty, once you're empty, what happens? It's gonna shut down.
Yeah. So we have Jackie from Queens, New York, artist, engineer, singer here.
Nice.
Holding your ground as an artist, how do you do it?
Suffering is necessary for holding your ground. You have to understand that when you're holding your ground as an artist, there's so many people. Well, I mean, we're here. We're at Rolling.
Hey, man,
we're
we keep it 100
we're
here at
here
Rolling,
for a
bro.
platform.
Yeah, we keep it 100, bro. It's okay.
The current music industry, as I would say, the current music industry is based off of a deconstruction. The deconstruction of an artist. They want to pretty much strip away. They don't want you to strip away your essence, but they'll try to strip away as much as they possibly can, so that whatever vision that they have for you can come through.
Right.
Unfortunately, sometimes that really takes a toll on artists, as we've seen throughout the years, especially from the inside of it, where you'll meet a particular artist at a certain time, and then maybe 2 or 3 years later, and it's like, something's different about them.
Right.
From the inside out, something is different. Sunk in place different. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
As a woman in this industry, it's a very, very real thing. Not saying it's not that way for men, but I do feel like you can see it faster and in a more visible way oftentimes with women.
No, absolutely.
You know?
And so you have to be careful about that. If you're going to stand your ground, understand that you're going to hit hurdles, you're going to have obstacles, people are going to try to tell you that it's impossible for you to break through. I was one of those artists that held my ground. I stuck to my guns. I stuck to my sound. Even when I got signed at 22, 23 years old, and people told me that I was making music that was too old for me and that I looked so young, it was impossible for me to break out with this kind of music. And I was like, I'm 22, 23. How you going to tell the young person what he can and cannot do? I am the voice of my youth.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have to go through that process to say, okay, cool. Now let me show you one step at a time. Thank God for social media, as far as through Instagram and Facebook. I do these little acapella vignettes. I pay tribute to the 90s. I pay tribute to the 2000s. But it really gave way, and it built a fan base for me, so that fan base can champion the sound. They can champion to say, we like him, we support him.
Right.
You know, that really matters, to go out there and to let the people know, so that the people can champion you, because there will be energy and forces against it.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing too, just to tie into what you were saying, I think, when you are a new artist, I think that for the business side, it's always a pathway of least resistance. So they always want to say, okay, well, what can we make familiar about you so it's easy? And then they extract all your everything
soul.
that's pure about you as an artist and your own expression and everything. And that's where those challenges begin. And as you talk about suffering, is because you're going to miss out on some opportunities.
Absolutely.
You're going to miss out on it.
You're going to say no, and that's okay.
Yeah, and here's what I love, and history tells it the best way. When you look at Jimi Hendrix, right? When you look at all these people that shifted culture, there was a whole bunch of idiots around that said, we don't get it. It's never going to be. They laughed at Prince. Okay?
Yes.
They laughed at Prince.
They booed Prince.
They booed Prince. And luckily, Rolling Stones, they got it. They were like, you don't realize who you just booed. That guy right there. And that's the thing. And it comes with suffering. But the reward at the end of this is so much greater.
Sweet.
The value in who you are is so much greater. So I think those are the things to always keep in mind. And you can only keep those in mind if you know the history of what it is you say you love. A lot of people like to say, man, I love such and such, but when you go to find out how much they are a student of what they say they love, you find out they're not much of a student. So a lot of this comes with being a student of what you love. You say you're a singer, man, know those that have come
For you.
way before you,
Yeah.
and understand what that roadmap looks like.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's my bad.
No, you got it.
But that's the key to our survival.
Yeah.
You know, within me being a student, you being a student, you being a student, we have to be students of the game, you know. So me being signed to Motown, I had to be a student of all of the artists that came before. I had to understand that when I felt like my album was being held up, I remembered as a student to say, well, when Marvin Gaye created What's Going On, they held that album for a year. Plus.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, I can't feel too bad. You know what I mean? Like one of the greatest vocalists that ever lived.
They did it to Marvin.
They did it to Marvin.
Yeah.
I mean, the album as is, What's Going On,
right.
you know? So that freaked me out. I mean, even with a Stevie Wonder where he had a point in his career where he said, you know what? I'm going to venture off. I'm going to do my own thing. But I'm not going to tell nobody that I'm doing my own thing.
And they
yeah. So they had sent for him. They sent for him to say, yo, what is he doing? What is he working on? Because we need to know. We need to figure this out. He needs to come back, you know, so that he can record what we have for him. And they were just wigging out because it was like, all we hear is synthesizers, this weird sounds that's coming out. And they got nervous, you know. But if it wasn't for Stevie being the great artist that he is and just being so fearless, you know, where we know that, like you said, you know, that very, very avant-garde, like very rare novelty of what you just said. You know, that Red Now album was, you know.
All harmonica?
Yes. So, I mean, but even with the earlier, like, before Music of My Mind, you know, Where I'm Coming From, and those kind of albums where you started to see, he started to write his own stuff. And so we were on that journey with him as he was figuring it out. So by the time we are hearing You Are the Sunshine of My Life, and so by the time you get to Inner Visions and Music of My Mind, and what's the next one that's the next one that's after that?
Cue the Jeopardy music.
Man.
Is it Inner Visions, and then it's Songs in the Key of Life.
Songs in the Key of
Songs
Life.
in the Key of Life. So by that time, Stevie's in his stride.
Yeah, he's
going. Unstoppable.
Well, yeah.
Like legitimately, you knew he was unstoppable when he said, "Listen, I'm gonna do it." It wasn't even a disc yet, so he did 4 albums worth of material where it was like constant hits. That's crazy. But you have to get to that point. You know what I mean? So it's just about that discovery and being a student of it, forever being curious.
Absolutely.
We got Trish from DC wants to know,
DC.
right? What was the first CD you bought, and who was the first artist you saw in concert? There's a third part to it.
Man, she's going in.
If you could time travel, which decade would you want to create in?
The first album that I purchased was Big Pun, Capital Punishment. I know that sounds weird, right? I love Big Pun. That's what it is.
You can't
There's no
deny him. He was
judgment.
dope. You can't deny him. He was
That's
dope.
what it is. What's the second part?
Second part is, who was the first artist you saw in concert?
The first artist that I saw in concert was yikes. Dang, what was the first concert that I went to? That is a good question that I'm gonna have to get back to.
So we'll get back to it.
Yeah.
I'll say the first person I saw in concert was Patti LaBelle. I was 5. She was rolling across the stage and kicking off her shoes. It was amazing.
Man, the first concert I went to was New Edition, Bobby Brown and I'll Be Sure in San Bernardino. Yep.
Now, if we're talking about something that I chose to go to, I'm not afraid to say it. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? My first concert, I went to a Nelly concert, you know what I'm saying, and whatnot. And I went to see Destiny Child was on the bill too, and all that. So I think it was like a summer jam performance.
Oh, dude, makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's credible.
Yeah.
And which decade would you want to create in?
The decade that I would want to create, the 70s. I feel like the 70s was one of the
think
best.
of what kind of I always say, man, if we were in the 70s, man, we would have been smashing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know if
smashing.
I don't know if I would be an artist in the 70s because it was
Man,
so
competition
it
was
was
fierce,
so
right? Competition was fierce.
I would have to give my album to somebody. somebody like a Leon Ware.
Right,
Or
Leon.
have Prince stepping on your neck.
Yeah, but
Gamble and Huff, any of them cats like,
I
man,
think it was just such a great time for music. You know, that was the explosion.
those were the building blocks.
Yikes.
What we love, you know.
Yeah.
I think we have one more question.
Last question, yep. Derek from Santa Monica. Do you like collaborating with other artists? How does it usually work? You guys just jam or what?
I love collaborating with other artists. It just has to be organic.
Right.
That's been the word of the day, organic. It has to be organic. We do jam sometimes. So like when I went into the studio with BJ, that was really cool because it gave us an opportunity to talk and chop it up and
label
see where it's
mates as
minded.
well,
Yeah, we're
too.
label mates. So I mean that's a really, really cool opportunity for you to get the other side of it, to see what they're going through, what they're experiencing. Like, so what's your journey been like? Oh, you've been going through that too? Man, I thought I was the only one.
Yeah.
So you build the bond. Yeah, you build the bond.
That's dope, man.
That's wonderful. You have been.
He's been amazing. I feel
I
like
mean-
we're hogging his day, man. And thank you so much for asking answering these questions, man, and just hanging with us, man. But I do also want to talk briefly about your album.
Yes, the
If you could
Awakening.
tell them where they can find it, where they can grab it. Obviously, we know
Yes.
the digital
I mean,
platforms, but I
Where to
want
find
you to
you,
talk
too.
about that also.
Well, most importantly, you guys can go and find The Awakening. That is on iTunes, Amazon, every digital platform there is. Make sure that you follow me. That's at Kevin Ross Music, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, you name it. I'm on it. Always remember to be great. Make sure that you go and buy the tickets for The Awakening tour. That is Kevin Ross Music.
I'm going.
Next.
I'm going
I'm
too.
going.
There we go.
I'm going. We're going.
I mean, connected
yeah.
field trip to your concert.
And also,
Yes.
too, I want to shout out my Motown family. That's Ethiopia, Zeke, Vivian. Thank you for making this happen. And, it's always good to be around family. And since the day I first heard you, man, I was like, that cat right there. That dude. So thank you again, man, for blessing us with your presence. I think I'd be cheating myself if I didn't get to hear, the record I love.
Hey.
So, along some way. So I'm gonna let Cloie do her thing and let folks know where they can catch us as well on the socials. So I'm gonna go hang back here with you
Love
guys.
it.
So
Let's roll those slides, please. So for social media, as always, we are at IZConnected. That's IZConnected. You can email us at connected@rrfedu.com. That's where we want to get all of your resume questions, all of your demos, anything you want to send us directly, get it there. To sign up and join the connection, you can find us at rrfedu.com/connected. Our app, check it out. It is rrfedu.com/connected/app. Next slide, please. For the application for our jobs, get rrfedu.com/connected/latest. That's also where you're going to find those 5 additional jobs because we are now bringing you 10, not just 5, but 10 jobs per Monday. For all of our resources, be sure to check out our vault. That's connected/vault. And of course, our what is that thing called? A newsletter that's just coming out later today featuring our friend Adam Howell. Shout out to Adam. And that's rrfedu.com/weekly-report. Are we ready, boys?
yeah,
I'm ready.
Always got somewhere to go. Your life is filled with revolving doors. It's not a race when it comes to love. Unless it's me that you run from. City girls want it all, but they never can wait. Not so fast, you could lose control. I know we live in the let the record play. Just let the record play. Yeah. Oh, so won't you please, please let the record play.